A rock slide that occurred 2 days ago has been repaired, and we're already moving traffic there. So this maintenance work and recovery work is underway, even as we are preparing for the next round of winter weather. And so I want to thank everybody that we're working with, all of the agencies, including our counties and our cities and towns around the state, our local officials, where our districts work closely with them, our 12 districts across the state. 23 up to 2,300 people, more than 2,000 from the Transportation Cabinet and contractors are committed to this event. And I want to acknowledge them, and I also want to acknowledge their families. They've been working this event since over the weekend, that front. Now we've got another front coming in, but they are talented and they are resilient and they are committed. And I want to acknowledge and thank them. Now, in terms of roads that are reopening, the number of closures is still very, very high. 344 is the last count. You can find out about a road closure or reopening at goky.ky.gov. goky.ky.gov. And that's what I've got, Governor. Thank you. Yep.
Okay. Okay, we will open it up to questions. We should have more information on our current evacuation mission here in the next hour or two, but know that there are some really brave people out there that are helping people as we speak. So we'll start in studio. We're in the EOC with Carolina. So we believe we have reached many, if not most people that got trapped because of the original water, because of the flash flooding, and have helped most people that have been affected by the rising rivers. There are a couple rivers that haven't crested yet, and that's where the emergency operations are focused, especially in Martin County, where we may have 100 plus people we need to move to a safer place. Thankfully, we've done such a good job. Let me say, our boat teams, KSP, our guard, and everyone else has done such a good job over the last couple of days that we have a whole lot of resources to use where we need them right now. Whereas 2 days ago, we may have had one crew, we probably have 3 to 4 to 5 right now. And our USAR coordinators who are over here have done a really good job of moving people where we know that the water is going to crest. Thanks to the National Weather Service, Mike, who's been in here with us, we pretty much know where we need to be moving people in real time to where the next challenges will be. But those that are out there that don't have power and that can't get out of their neighborhood, that 502 number that we put up is the one that they ought to call, and we've got resources to come and get to them. Again, if needed. In many places, we may have one road closure, but there's another way to go. We're getting one lane open in a lot of these areas too, and we just need people to be careful. And what I'd add on top of Jim is, remember, if you're grateful for all those transportation folks that are helping out during this period, slow down as you go around them because they're doing dangerous work out there in real time. All right, we'll go to Kendall from the Lexington Herald Leader. Okay, we'll go to Madison from WLKY.
Hi, Governor. Thank you. Now, you talked a little bit about the number of people who are being housed by state parks currently. Is that an accurate depiction of the total number of people currently displaced throughout the state, or do you believe there could be more who maybe just haven't reached out for help?
Oh, there are absolutely more people displaced in the state that are at our state parks. I feel very comfortable saying hundreds of people across the Commonwealth are currently displaced. How long they will be displaced may be different than compared to July of 2022, but we're going to have people that have housing needs and hundreds of people that have housing needs that may go to relatives, may go to friends, may stay in our state parks or other options we put up there for at least this week, and some are going to need housing assistance, whether that looks like our travel trailer program or something else going into the future. But we've got 30 something just in our state parks, but no, there are, in my mind, at least several hundred that are displaced in addition to that. Tom from Kentucky Today. Okay.
There I
Let's
am.
go
I
to-
had some problems with the mute button shutting off there, so sorry about that. I've got two quick ones. First of all, when was the last time that all 120 counties were under flood warnings at the same time? And secondly, are you going to extend or amend your executive order with the state of emergency due to the additional snow we're looking at?
So a state of emergency will stay in place through the duration of this event. I certainly view the snow event as part of the ongoing flooding and damage that's out there. I'll probably need to go talk to FEMA about that afterwards to make sure we're covered. But thankfully, we got somebody from FEMA who used to run this department, and we've got a very good partner there. Your second question, Tom?
When was the last time all 120 counties were under flood warnings?
This forecast is very rare. The forecast that we had ahead of time, and thankfully we had a very good forecast. One of the differences between this flood and July of 2022 is we knew this was coming. We knew it was coming. We had a good idea of how significant it would be, not entirely where it would hit, but certainly that has helped us in many areas. I'd say since I've been governor, having a flood watch or warning in every single county hadn't happened more than a handful of times. So I think part of this forecast was only happens 2% of the time throughout our state. So this is certainly historic in the breadth of how much of Kentucky it's hit. Karen Czar from WUKY.
Thank you, Governor. I have two as well. The first is, what will the state and FEMA be able to offer storm victims as far as immediate financial needs? And then I was with the Hazard Fire Department yesterday, and they had to evacuate their station on Saturday. They're back in, they saved the trucks, but they lost a lot of equipment. You talked about some of the other first responders having difficulties. Do we know exactly how many teams have been affected? And how can the state help them replace those items that they lost?
We'll try to get a count for you. I don't have one now, but we see this in everything from localized flooding to the large scale flooding. What we often see is other groups chipping in and helping out with some excess equipment, but that all becomes a part of the submissions that we make to FEMA on the public assistance side. Again, we'll be putting together all of that for the public assistance side. Today, we'll be applying for the individual assistance. We want to speed up the process whereby people can get help as much as possible, and already having conversations with FEMA about where we'd set up the disaster recovery centers, the other services that we could put in it, tips that we can provide people about their application. We want to be really thoughtful and proactive to help people through the process as much as we can. Shaq Brewster from MSNBC. No. James Pilcher from WKRC.
Good morning, Governor. Thank you for taking the time. Two quick questions. First of all, again, reiterating your gratitude from outside agencies. We've got Task Force 1 coming down here from Cincinnati, Butler County Sheriff's, Burlington Fire Department, Covington Fire Department. Can you talk a little bit about that? And my second question is, Kentucky's seems like to be the bullseye for some of these more severe storms that have been coming up more and more. Is there anything, what is causing this? And was there anything long-term that the state can do to mitigate against this longer term? Thank you.
We are very grateful to all different groups around Kentucky that have come to help, as well as outside. The northern Kentucky area, as well as Cincinnati and parts of Ohio, have sent a large number of highly skilled, well-trained personnel, and I guarantee lives have been saved because of their abilities, and also because their municipalities, counties, and their state were willing to send them on a moment's notice. This is one of the additional ways that we're now responding to these disasters. You're right, we've been through a lot, and we lost a lot of people along the way. We've gotten better every time, from the emergency response to the intermediate housing to the rebuilding. I mean, just our ability to have assets where we knew that there would be flooding around the state ahead of time allowed us to do those 1,000 rescues in about 24 hours. We saw 1,400 rescues in about 48 hours after the July 22 flooding. But this has been a really incredible response by our first responders on the ground and those organizing that response in this EOC. As we build back, we've always got to do it to be more durable and to handle more of these weather events. It's hard to answer the why on not why more weather disasters are happening. I think we know that climate change is making more weather events happen, but we keep getting hit over and over. And while the why is hard, I think we always see God in the response. Good people, brave people, doing the right thing, showing up for their neighbors, hopefully contributing to the Team Kentucky Storm Relief Fund. We've got to make sure we're here for every victim and victim's family of this storm, but also everybody who's displaced. They deserve as much of our effort as those that were harmed after the tornadoes or that last set of flooding. Our job is to never get tired and to be the good Kentuckians we are after every single one of these events. Those all of our journalists, James? Okay, I think that's everybody we have. Again, we'll have a press event at 2 p.m. at the Pike County Courthouse. Likely our next update will be tomorrow morning from either here or in the Capitol. We'll be updating through social media and other means. But to everybody watching and being safe in Kentucky, thank you. To everybody else around the country that are watching our plight, we appreciate you. We're grateful for you. We are tough people. We get through things and we get through them together, but with your help, we can help people to get through it with less harm and back up on their feet that much faster. So thank you, America, but most certainly everybody here in Kentucky, thanks for being good neighbors.